Hey guys, we're live over here and we are live over here. We are trying to do a little bit of live both on Facebook and on YouTube to try to see if that can help grow the audience and also allow for opportunities for people to jump in and be guests on it as well. So I want to say hello. Welcome to we're doing podcast now. This is episode, I believe, 7 or 8. Or maybe I'm wrong. I think it might only be 7, maybe it's 6. I guess I could check. But welcome to the podcast. Very, very excited to share some stuff with you guys about this last week, about what's going on, and kind of just try this two at one time, see how well this works out. So, greeting, welcome, my friends. It's an absolute pleasure. I am thrilled to be here with you all sharing some fun things um, again and again with all of you. It's always a pleasure, always a lot of fun, and I'm excited to kind of get things rolling with the podcast and kind of see where we end up. So what we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna break down the basics of the format for those that don't know what we do in this podcast, because this will be our first one live on Facebook, is that we talk about what I've been reading, what's going on in my life, and I bring on some awesome guests to talk about just stuff and things, kind of stream of consciousness, and some back and forth. So I'm really, really excited to be sharing with you all today a little bit of that. And there's going to be a bit of back and forth, maybe looking here and here, just to kind of check and see, especially if comments start coming in of where things are going to be and who I'm talking to. So it might be a little bit here for a minute and then over here for a minute. So we'll kind of see how it all plays out. So anyhow, um, welcome. Very, very exciting. All right, so we're going to start with still doing some Shakespeare reading. I'm loving that. We're doing Henry V right now in my class. We had the professor come in. He gives some great context for it about the Civil War that's going on historically, and a bit of Henry IV, part 1 and 2, and kind of what was going on there. So give us context for what was kind of going on in the world at the time, and then the war with France that happened and whatnot, and like the battle for the crown, and could you get a crown through the female lineage versus the male lineage, or both. Kind of a little bit of back and forth there. It's really great context for that. Very, very exciting. Anyhow, welcome. So we looked a little bit about that today. We finished up Macbeth just the other week. And one of the things that I've been really enjoyed about being a tutor is I've had some good opportunities to have some good discussions with the students, and they've had some really good back and forth. It's been awesome. I've been really thrilled to share with them talks about different things, about context, about where we are in the process, about what things mean in different places, and just some really good back and forth. Today we talked a little bit about, if you guys don't know, the moral machine, some questions of when there's not necessarily a right answer of what do you do? Do you sacrifice? Um, I think the basic example is there's a self-driving car, and it is going on the road, and there are on both sides of the road. You have on one side of the road you have one individual, just one person, and on the other side of the road you have a doctor. And where does the self-driving car swerve? Kind of a thing. Does it swerve at the person, or sort of the doctor, and then kind of back and forth. Some good discussion spawns in that regard, and I'm really love having that. Hopefully, one of my guests will have a chance to talk some more of those questions as well. So I talked a bit about that, and that was awesome. But other than that, I'm still in school, still doing the tutoring, still working as a barista at Starbucks, still training for a marathon. I think it's the one I'm looking at doing is the Mystery Mountain Marathon, which is in late September, early October, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm looking for opportunity to register for that. I'm very, very excited because I haven't done one in so long, but I've been meaning to kind of get back on that train of doing those things more consistently. So there's a bit about that, just like the basic general background. Yeah, so we're kind of going from there, and we're just kind of taking every day as it comes. We have done, for those of you that don't know, we sold 24 t-shirts this year in the span of 2 weeks, where last time we did them anyways, we sold 40 in 2 months. So we doubled our productivity by cutting our time down and by a quarter, and only cutting our productivity down by a half, and then some change. So very, very excited about that. I've made almost all of them, delivered almost all of them. That was a really cool opportunity to just practice that skill of the marketing, of the networking, and things of that nature. So it's been really, really fun, and I've been really, really thrilled, and I've really enjoyed it. on the YouTube screen, you can see in the background a lot of my tutoring materials just in that in that laundry hamper back there. Um, so we've been doing chemistry in the class as well. Today we did an experiment about solutes and solvents and temperature changes and how when a solution is warmer, the molecules are moving more quickly, therefore it has more space to dissolve things inside of it, and it dissolves quicker because of that space being more readily available than into a colder solution. So talk about that. That was a really awesome discussion, and they had a kind of the hypothesis that they gathered just based on what their readings and their study. They were able to kind of come to that conclusion before, but then we went through and then so we were able to kind of work through some proofs and work through some experiments that showed that. So there is that very, very exciting on that front. But yeah, we did the t-shirts, the champion of the people. I'm still trying to determine like what that will entail for me long term. If it'll be something that will become a business, if I end up having that, if it ever is going to be that, be more than just a hobby, I'm going to take some more serious steps to, what's the word? Work through that process of creating it as an actual business and like going through the paperwork and keeping good records and good follow through and making a good quality product, kind of going from there. So we'll see what happens if that becomes anything more than a hobby. It may or may not, but I think it's a good practice though. It was for me the exercise of doing something kind of that was new to me that I hadn't done, hadn't ever made my own t-shirts. But last time I had a company make them for me. And then this year I made them myself via iron-on, and so different materials were used there versus the there's like two different main ways. There's like the iron-on way, and there's the other way, which is like the press or the, I don't know what it's called. I should know what it's called. Screen printing. So things of that nature. Sometimes I was juggling a little bit of the quality of both and what I thought about both. And my first time doing it went very, very well. I think I was very, very pleased with the product. And I have my own that I wear, which was part of what when I was selling them, I was kind of going around, I wore it and I was like, hey, this is what I've made. I'm trying to sell them. And we went through that process as well. So that was a really good exercise on that front. I think right now the fact that I'm trying to stay kind of busy and productive has been really beneficial in its own right, where I've been able to look at where I am and see the progress that I've made. I think this whole year has been pretty kind of awesome in that I've performed a complete 180. Historically, last year and even earlier this year, when I was living close to Seattle, um, I ended up just kind of remaining stagnant. I didn't grow a lot. I wasn't learning a lot of new things. And so I feel like this year, what got me out of the comfort zone this year was moving across the country to Georgia and to here now in Kennesaw and getting new jobs and getting back to school. And that whole process kind of helped me perform a complete 180 to being more consistent with exercise, being more consistent. That's where I just kind of word them at a screen. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of go through that as well, of just working through that process and working through the growth of it and being in school again. And for the fact that right now, being a tutor, a barista, being a student, working with personal projects as well, has really helped me to grow. And I've learned so much about myself and about what I want to do with my life long term and where I want to be. So I've been really blessed by this change. And at first, I remember it being very difficult because I came down here at first all by myself, and it was just me. And I was just working, and there wasn't a lot of traction. And it felt in a lot of ways the same without a lot of the connections I'd made historically. So having an opportunity to do something brand new and be a part of new communities and new experiences and to learn how to make new cuisine and to learn the stuff I learned as a barista and to learn the things I learned about sales in that regard, but also with the t-shirts and whatnot, has been phenomenal. And to kind of learn as I've been a tutor, like the whole process of learning how to empower the students to really have those good discussions and have that good back and forth has been awesome. So I've really enjoyed that. That's kind of a little bit of what's going on in my life. Man, very, very blessed and very, very blessed to be busy, blessed to be a blessing. Two huge things for me. I am always going to reiterate the importance of counting your blessings, especially the ones that may not seem like blessings. You might not think of something, um, being a blessing. That is a blessing. Like that move at first, when I first came down here, I was like, oh, this is a challenge, you know. But it was a huge blessing in so many ways, in more ways than I can count. And just the fact that I'm thriving now more than I had historically is just a huge testament to that. So I've been really, really blessed to have that as a part of my experience. So anyhow, I'm gonna see if I can put this a little bit closer and maybe have a little bit less of. Okay, it's better. It's better. Okay, maybe this might be a good setup here. All right. So with that being said, it has been kind of joy and love and appreciation in so many ways that historically I don't think that I would have done these things if I hadn't moved. And as much as I loved and miss and would love to visit all of my friends that live up north, as much as there was good, I think what was bad about it was I wasn't letting myself grow. I wasn't learning. I wasn't um, pushing myself in ways that I really could. So I think that that was a huge thing for my growth this year, was the opportunity to be in a place that was brand new and have a new normal kind of pop up and work towards the practice of just practicing good practice, practicing good behavior, being um, in a state of growth and of movement. And that was huge for me. So I've been just blessed in so many ways by that opportunity. So I did want to just say that, talk a little bit about the context, about the background, but the fact that it's been a huge blessing being here and being where I am. So there is a bit of that. Let's see, this last week, what's going to come up? Oh man, and I want to say something. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I found this definition um, that I've been putting on some of the shirts. People ask for the back of it on it as well. Where when I talked about the shirt being the Champion of the People shirt, it has the logo of the Champion of the People, and on the back it has this design right here, which defines a champion as a person who has, uh, sorry, not that first one, a person who fights for a cause or on behalf of someone else. And I thought that was amazing. That was huge um, in creating that mentality and in creating that ideology, if you will, um, of a champion and what that means when people are to say, "Oh, I'm a champion of the people." You're someone who fights on behalf of others, who works for the benefit of others, and that's something that I think a lot of society and culture could learn from. Um, I feel like there is so much benefit to taking care of yourself and taking care of your business and you being responsible for your actions and your future and where you want to go. Um, so I think that that's crucial in so many ways. However, I also think that taking care of other people is a big part of that as well, because um, when it comes down to the wire and you need somebody to be there for you, if you've not been there for anyone but yourself, you end up in a position where you're not going to see that growth and you're not going to experience that growth. So that is something that I think is really important. And one of the things that I told my students and other people is that what stories do you remember the best, right? What do you remember the most? And those are going to be the stories that are about, that have like struggle in them, and the stories that have trial and triumph and going through difficulty and going through growth. And so the importance of a good story, the importance of good understanding storytelling, I think is very crucial just for life in general. If you want to have an impact on people, you need to know how to tell a story. If you want to have an opportunity to kind of grow yourself and help other people grow and help people kind of cultivate that attitude of pushing yourself towards kind of your personal best, is to do that, is to do just that, is to grow, is to work through that process and encourage other people to do it as well. But through storytelling, through the I mean, we're inspired by stories because they're good stories, because they have those elements of trial and triumph, of like the good and the bad, and just this back and forth and this kind of struggle where stories where it's all, you know, all fun and games, we might remember them in some ways, but not as inspirational. They're not as much of a, they don't stick with us the same way. There's not as much gravity to a story that doesn't have consequence and ideas and conflict. So that's a really important part of that. So I would just always recommend and be aware of that when you're telling stories, when you're trying to inspire people. Have a good storytelling technique. Um, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to a good story. There's a lot about if you're having a conversation with someone, eye contact and body language are important and crucial. Um, and understanding things. And I'm not saying I lean too much on that crush where I just kind of say to buy for time, let my mind kind of think about it. But by the time that I say that, I'm just like, oh snap, I'm not ready to say what I was going to say. And I think that more often than not, it's important to take the time to know what you're going to say before you say it. So take that practice of being patient and working through it. I think is really, really important. So there's that. I am going to see real quick if I can send an invite to my buddy to come on over and join us here real quick. I don't know if he is currently available, but I think he might be. Let's see if I can find him real quickly here. All right. Let's see. So not a couple of them here, and a couple people. I'm trying to see if I've asked a lot of people if wanted to be a part of it. Do do do. So many blessings, and when I think about growth and change, I think that more often than not, I kind of neglect to spend the time to count the blessings that, and I, even as I mentioned earlier, that may not seem like blessings at first. The kind of blessings that we spend our time thinking of more as challenges and more of as obstacles. But the fact that so many of those are in their own way blessings is so awesome and so crucial um, to remember because we might think to ourselves, "Oh snap, this is very challenging. This opportunity for me whenever I am." It's a simple example. If I'm exercising and I'm just like, man, this is tough. This is intense. But the blessing of the stamina and the good heart health and the good physical health and the good mental health definitely outweighs that of the challenge. But in the moment, you're thinking to yourself, this is tough. And the same thing with anything. If you're in school or if you're in something studying or in a new job, you're learning something new, and you're in an experience of this is tough. You may not really think to yourself, oh yeah, this is a blessing. So kind of being aware of that is crucial to kind of have that experience, have that conversation and that back and forth. All right, so we'll see if he gets back to us before too long. We're still going to be live for a little bit. Um, but that being said, that's an important thing to remember, is the importance of remembering blessings for what they are, for being blessings. I think that that's huge. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm excited for when for I think next week might be the first one. My buddy Henry, I'm going to tell you guys right now. My buddy Henry, who does Resale is his full-time job. He does Poshmark, he does Amazon, he does eBay, um, and he actually has hired off a few people to run his own kind of warehouse of it. And it's actually it's an kind of an emerging business. You can make a lot of money if you do it well and do it correctly, and you do it and you put in the groundwork because he puts in more than 40 hours. However, he's pretty well taken care of, and he was able to quit his job, and his wife was able to quit her job, and they've all come together. So I'm having him on hopefully next week or the week after to talk about what it took to get him from point A to point B, and what kind of changes and challenges he went through. For any of you who might be thinking something similar or thinking you want to maybe start your own business in your own way, um, and what you want to do with that and how you want to grow. I'm excited to have him on here. I've got a couple of people I've been meaning to ask. I'd love to have on here, but Henry for sure is going to come on very soon. Hopefully the next couple of weeks. We talked on the phone just last week, actually, last Tuesday, I think it was, to kind of talk about getting him on. So I'd love to have him on because he has got some experience that could be really good to share. I think it'd be really great to have that that discussion. Those will be a Facebook exclusive lives. This one is the two, which kind of giving a little bit of technology test today as well. Part of what we're doing with this is filling the space one at a time, seeing how well it works with the two. It may require a bit of finagling and tinkering, if you will, to get to a good way to do them on both platforms at the same time. But I just want to try and see how it all kind of panned out. Let's see if my cousin wants to hop on here real quick. See if I can invite him on. Gonna see how this all pans out. Oh man, it's weird watching because of the lag and the delay. I'm live here, but I'm watching like what's being broadcasted out over here, and you can hear me in the background. I was just trying to see if I needed to do some controls over here. Oh, I might be able to get him on. Let's see here. Maybe Connor or maybe John. We'll see. Can I go ahead and let's see how I don't know how I'm still new to the Facebook Live side of things, so I'm trying to see if I can add one of my buddies here on real quick here. Let's see if I can invite them to come on to the live. All right, looks like it's doing it. Bear with me as I just kind of try to figure this out real quick here. I should have spent some time a little bit earlier trying to work through that a little bit more. Trying to see what I can do to work through that. Oh man, guys, it's a beautiful day. What are you guys excited about? Feel free to leave a comment. A lot of you guys watch this later on. I'm gonna see if I can get.
Oh man, guys, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, what's going on in your lives? What's happening? What's new? What's been your growth period? What have you been working towards? What are some of your goals? Just in general, what are you working through, and what do you want to do that's new? Where do you want to see yourself? Where do you see yourself? It's the same question everyone asks, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? But honestly, where do you see yourself growing in that time? I saw a great video this week, and it was asking, like, look at the people in your career, in your job, in your world that are 5 years ahead of you, and do you see yourself there? Do you see yourself happy there, thriving there? And that was awesome. I thought it was a really cool opportunity to kind of like look at that and see how far ahead these people are and what they've done. Let's try to see if I have this correct. Do, 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 do. I may need to on here end this one and go live again to have him join. I'm trying to figure out the whole like a thing about that. Um, I thought that was a way just to add some. I don't have the app on my phone until February because I had to get an account recovery because I spent so long not updating it and putting in the wrong passwords and stuff that it got all locked up. So in a couple of weeks here, I'll get a chance to update it and maybe even do some live stuff on here at some point. But for now, we're stuck with the webcam here and here. So, but if you watch this later, please leave comments about what you're wanting to, where you want to grow, how you want to grow, and I hope to encourage you all with all of this. And I guess the main reason why I tell you guys what I'm doing, where I'm from, what I'm coming from, where I'm coming from, my context is I really want you guys to have an opportunity to grow and to learn, and all of that. All right, I'm trying to see what I can. If I may need to end the Facebook Live here and then add someone as a live partner. I'm trying to just what I probably should do because it's the information age is just look up how to do that real quick here. Because otherwise I'll spend the whole time during the podcast just looking back and forth and saying, "All right, guys, that's good. It's a good day." Oh man! All right. I'm gonna see if I can get him in here. If I can invite these guys to come in and check it out live, and then I should be able to add them. All right, cool. Looks like we might have a guest. We're still trying to see if it's gonna happen right now or not. I'm hoping to get somebody on because I think that Connor runs his own podcast, and if I get him on here, we can plug his podcast. I really would love to have an opportunity to have that discussion with him because he's got some great things to say. The Daily Discussion is the name of his podcast. It's a really great podcast, just in general. Good discussion. He has great back and forth. He talks about like real world issues, about religion, about politics, about and he has some really good resources, some great books. I think it can really go somewhere, and I'd love to help support him in any way that our small community can here. So I'm going to see if I can get him on real quick here. If not, we'll kind of keep talking. I'll bring up the keyboard to the music section of the podcast and kind of go from there. So just going to see how it all pans out. Do, 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 do. All right. Da, da.
There. So let's see how it all pans out.
Do, 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 do. All right. See if I can get a couple people on here. We shall see. If I don't get anything in the next couple minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the music section of the podcast. In the meantime, I'm going to pull out a little this upside down. I'm going to grab a section from some Shakespeare here. I'll do a little bit of reading. Because last time, or the time before, we had some Menno. Last time we had Taylor, it was awesome. It's really, really good. I think I told you guys before how much I love this book. It was published in like the 1800s, and it is just amazing. Um, One of the things that was awesome about that it is awesome about Shakespeare is that we've got um, goodness gracious, he pushed so many boundaries and he grew um, the genre in its own way, and he took the ancient format of ancient epic, and particularly Henry V is in that format of ancient epic, and a lot of some of the other poetry was in that same format. Um, where it took like the ancient, like the Aeneid, the Iliad, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and he kind of had that same format when he was telling stories, and that was just super awesome to kind of learn today when I was learning from our history professor. Um, really awesome. I was thrilled and blessed to have a chance to sit with him and listen to what he had to say, and the students had it was so much of an opportunity to see the growth there, and but also to see like the context and how the history. Um, just the what I love about it is it's great literature, and there are tragedies and comedies and histories and all these different things, but just the fact that after all this time, like we still read it and there's still connection to history, and like that's part of why we still study it and we still have this context for it, is because it's so unique and such a pushing of boundaries where he created his own words and vocabulary in it, and just I guess I'm more talking about it now, and the fact that it has impacted and inspired and kind of encouraged other people to do some of the same things. But just the fact that um, was so, he was so kind of, what's the word? I guess you could say avant-garde. It was new. It was um, huge in its own right. And one of the things that's in Henry V, where he's talking about in the introduction, he's having this guy come on that's the chorus, and he's talking about, man, if only I could show this story to you the way that it should be shown. If only I could bring you to the time in history where this was happening. This was relevant. This is actually happening. This is such an important story, such a huge scale story. And so that was awesome on that front. So he pushed some really good boundaries on just in general. And he took that same format of the ancient epic and that idea of, I'm actually going to read this bit because it was a great example and a great, I was going to find it. I forgot. There is a bit in it at the very beginning where he's saying, "Oh, but if I could invoke the muse," very similarly to how, here we go. It's "Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene." And even just those first four lines have so much power. And in the same way that Plato and all these ancient orators would say, I'm going to invoke the muse, if you will, the god of storytelling and of poetry. And that was part of that format, a huge part of that format. So there's that. Now we're going to bring out some music. I've just been kind of word vomiting for a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to get a guest today. It doesn't look like it. I know that I do have people that really want to be guests, but I think that a very short notice of like, hey, come join the podcast today is a little bit too much short notice. So I'm hoping to get people on very soon, trying to kind of hammer down some dates for you guys, because I think that that could be really exciting to have more people. I love more opinions. I love more discussion. I love back and forth. So if it's just me, it almost feels like you're missing something. You're missing some good context, some good discussion that can happen when there's me and somebody else. So I'm just going to do one quick thing here, and then I'm going to kind of go from there. Let's see real quick here. And also it's a test of bandwidth today, seeing how well this will all kind of pan out in the grand scheme of things. Do 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 do. All right, so while I'm waiting on one last thing here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the keyboard. We'll open the keyboard for you all and play some music, and then share with you guys that part of the podcast as well. We might have somebody. We'll see here. Oh, I should probably plug in the keyboard. I forget that my cousin has choir tonight. All right, so we're gonna kind of go on from here. This is the music section of it. I play music, and we kind of talk a little bit back and forth here and there. Last week, I shared some fun things that I had written. I think I did, anyways. There was this one song. I wrote this song when I was. Okay, so I wrote this song when I was very, very little, and I remember the visual I had in my head. I must have been, oh man, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that very young age, and it was just me singing to my parents. It was just this. And then when I actually got older, I got some software I could use, and I was able to kind of actually play it a little bit more, with some more rhythm to it and some things I added to it. But it was awesome to have like young little Austin, who wrote this song called "The Saddest Song I've Ever Heard," and just the picture I had in my head was of a lone deer, a lone male deer, a lone buck, walking in the forest at night. So that was the background for it. I'm just gonna play you guys the song that I wrote, and I think you'll enjoy it. Something along those lines. Oh snap! What's up, Connor? Welcome, welcome. I was just wondering, I don't know if you have the time, but if you wanted to jump on, I would love to add you uh, into the actual live video here. Because I was telling my viewers here, who mostly view it later on, because as VODs, if you will, video on demand of it. I'd love to have you just, if you have the time and you would love um, to jump in, I would love to have you join real quick and just have some discussion because I really value what you bring to the table. If you have the time, you are welcome to join in. Um, if not this week, maybe we can have it next week or week after. I'm trying to get my guests lined up for this because right now it's kind of just been me talking to myself. And as valuable as that is, I think that it'd be awesome to have some other opinions in there. So let me see if I can find what I was looking at here. But if you have the time, let me know if you have the time, if you'd love to, if you want to join live tonight. You are welcome to, more than welcome to, if I can just find the right button for it here. If you don't have the time, totally understandable. I know that you're a busy guy. Later this week, I could probably do that. I have to look at my calendar. I think definitely. I totally understand if you can't come on right now. I think my freest day is probably Wednesday because it's the day that I don't like work. I still have study to do. I still usually deposit checks there, and so that's probably my most free day this week. And then I usually do it on Monday, but I would love to if getting you on would mean doing it another day. I don't mind doing another one this week or switching it up for next week just so we have you on as a guest. But I would love to have you on. So hopefully we can work that out. My freest day is Wednesday. I might go do another day. I have to see what my work schedule is. Tomorrow I have work in the morning and then I have a church group. And then after that, Wednesday is my freest day where I don't have actual work, but I have to study and I have an exam coming up. And I think I have some written math problems to submit to my class, things of that nature. So just like depositing checks, like running to the grocery store, kind of just a day where I'm doing more of the stuff like the not so much self-care. Okay, so Wednesday is perfect. Awesome. Let's get you on Wednesday. We can talk more details soon. So I'll be looking forward to that. Those of you guys watching. And once again, like I said before, a lot of my guests and my people watch later on. But Wednesday, I'm excited. I'm really thrilled. I haven't had a chance to really have a in-depth conversation with you because of time zones and because of the fact that you've been pretty busy and I've been pretty busy. So I'm excited to have you on. Let's do Wednesday. Let's get you on. We'll talk more details soon. Probably be maybe some more time, maybe not. But once again, it's a pretty free day for me. So we can talk about like when's the best time for you. And I'm fairly flexible on that day. Let's get you on. So I'd love to plug your podcast, talk about your group, what kind of you've done. I'd love to get, I don't have what small support my small audience can offer. I'd love to offer that to you and what you do because it was part of what inspired me to do mine, was your podcast there. So let's do Wednesday. Alrighty then. So in the music section, just playing some music for you all. I just played the song that I wrote when I was a little kid, the saddest song I ever heard. I kind of like worked around all of the bits and pieces that as I got older, I took that melody that somehow I remembered, or maybe my parents remembered, or it was recorded somewhere, and just took that and ran with it and created that song. Left it as close to the original as possible because I really wanted to honor what that little Austin had done, and then created something beautiful from that. I'd love to record it for my next album. I'm hoping this year to do another one. I said I was going to do it last calendar year, but moved across the country, got a new job, got in school. So it's not been a big priority for me, but I'm hoping to carve out some time to do another one this calendar year. We'll see how it all pans out. A lot of summer this year will be job training for my tutoring job because I kind of jumped in when they needed a tutor kind of quickly because the position was not able to be filled because of a family emergency and some stuff that went on with the last tutor. So I kind of jumped in. I was like, let's just make it happen. It's been a big growth period for me, but I've been really loving it. So hopefully this year we can do another, maybe even just a small EP, maybe a single or two. We'll see. It's a matter of being patient with it all, juggling it all. Another song that I enjoyed writing. This song that I am playing right now is based off of the Fibonacci sequence, which I can't speak English as per usual. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. And then we also throw in that one is pi 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9. An awesome bit, and I can't play that one how I wrote it because I wrote it in a software when I was still learning the piano, and I'd love to sit down and actually go through it. So I have the actual sheet music for it here on my desk, and I want to sit down and go through the sight reading of it and go through the actual practice and exercise of doing the sight reading for the keyboard. Just because I really would enjoy that. I think that'd be an important exercise to grow me there because I can play the piano pretty well. The same with the guitar. I have less and less recently done the exercise of going through and actually being in that experience of actually playing things and sight reading, which I need to get back into that skill, especially if I do want to eventually be a teacher who teaches music. I think that's important as a music teacher. Reading music, sight reading is crucial. So I'd love to go back and do that and practice some more and take some more classes, of course, throughout my course of becoming educated to become an educator, if you will, do my teaching degree. So I would love to, I want to do that. It's an important thing for my future and my goals is going through that process of actually taking the time to learn that, those skills. Because like I said, I can play pretty well. Different kinds of modular modular things, and the practice of just like playing it, and the fact that I have kind of an ear for it. I heard what was it? In the Hall of the Mountain King. I heard that the other day, and then I sat down, having never sight read it or anything, and I played it. And the fact that I can do that, so I feel like it would be a crime or a sin almost to not do those things. I'm actually gonna look up the first part of this and then remind myself of it and then play you guys some of it for here real quick here. I need to remember it. Oh, okay. Got it. So once again, haven't ever had a single piano lesson. That song, I just reminded myself what it sounded like. There's more to it, but I think the fact that I have that level of skill and ability through theory when I was younger and through some lessons in guitar. I think I had one piano lesson. I think it was. my lesson. And then going from there to playing. I think it's once again almost criminal to not pursue that further in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're probably coming to the close of it here. I've been monologuing about, look how awesome I am. I can play the piano. I can read Shakespeare. I'm a tutor. I'm in school. Once again, when I say these things, I really want to encourage you all that you too can do great things, do big things, do amazing things. I really think that the importance of sharing a story, sharing your background, talking about where you're from, what you've done, what you've been through, um, is important to encourage people. My really only hope in having this conversation with all of you is that you're encouraged to pursue um, your passions, desires, goals, and push yourself and drive to be the best you can be. It's always, always, always going to be more worthwhile to actually put yourself in an exercise of actually doing the whatever it may be, the thing that you're wanting to, that you're planning to, that you have a goal to work towards. I really hope that through saying these things, that through discussing these things with you, that I really encourage you all, inspire you all. And you guys are, if you don't follow my Instagram or my Facebook page, particularly my Instagram, I post a lot there. I talk a lot about loving people and about living your best life and about pushing yourself. And that's a big part of my message is do what you have to do to get to where you want to go, especially when you don't feel like it. Like my lips, I've been battling dehydration because I've been feeling a little under the weather for a little over a week now. And I am like today I was like, man, I'd love to sleep in and just not have, but I had work to do. I had to show up for my students. I had things to take care of. I had some math homework I needed to do. I got to get ahead on some things. And I've got to go for an evening jog. So I've been downing vitamin C. I've been eating lots of fruits and vegetables, trying to like really knock this thing out of the park. And that's been the main thing has been the chapped lips. Like I haven't felt too bad else otherwise. I've been a little fatigued, but it's been mostly been the chapped lips. And I've gotten things to treat that. I've got some lip balm and stuff. Long story short, there was that. And then there are the moments when, like I said before, when we think of these things as challenges that might be blessings, like pushing through something. The exercise of pushing through when you don't feel like pushing through is crucial for kind of living life well and going to a point where you can actually have a good experience and have an opportunity to really push yourself forward and drive yourself to be your best self. So I am thankful for all you guys that tuned in. Many of you guys watched us later, so thanks for watching, especially to the end, watching the full hour if you did, or a portion of it, or whatever you may have watched. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited to have Connor on Wednesday. It looks like we'll have him on Wednesday. And then I'm trying to get a hold of Henry, see when we can have him on. Hopefully next Monday. If not next Monday, probably the Monday after. And we'll try to get my cousin on. He might come on the following Wednesday. We're going to see how consistently we'll do these things, how many guests we can have on. I know that I've got some awesome guests lined up. Like Connor has a podcast. My cousin is a really awesome guy, a really talented individual. He is a musician. He is in school. He does, I think what he does professionally, and he can correct me because he follows all my social media, so he'll definitely leave a correction that I have wrong. And I love him for it. He is someone that creates software right now to for schools and for that is for teaching. He kind of helps design and create software that is designed for online schools, online education and training. But he's going to school to do forestry, which has been like his long-term, lifelong kind of passion and dream is nature and taking care of uh, nature and the planet. And that's awesome. And this day and age, we need that a lot. I'm a big fan of recycling, a big fan of being a good steward of the environment, of renewable resources. Now, once again, it's not going to be perfect. Like, as an individual, do what you can. Vote for what you want to vote for. I am not here to spit any kind of wisdom in that realm, other than when it comes to what you're doing, to do the right thing. With that being said, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to call it an episode here. I think it's went very, very well with the double streaming. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. We'll see you all next week, and hopefully some of you on Wednesday for the talk with Connor. And that will be, of course, video on demand on my YouTube. And hopefully you can watch it again as well on the Facebook. We're going to go ahead and end the live here and end the live on YouTube. So here and on Facebook for you watching on this side of things. Thank you for being with me as I figure out the camera thing. We have a decent solution right now. I think that we can potentially get better. We might be able to like maneuver the laptop around a little bit so that next time it can be a little bit more my eye contact with you all here. So as like I said before, with eye contact, with pushing yourself to like grow and to tell good stories. So tell good stories, take care of yourself. Don't be an idiot. Love people, love yourself, push yourself towards your goals and your dreams. And thank you all for watching. Peace out. High five. The same for you guys. And end it. End it here. And end it here. And I should do it.